Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of 22 Yards with Zayyen. India have won the test series against Sri Lanka 1-0, but I'm sure that the final score tells a whole different story. Because in the second test in Colombo, India scored 503 for 9, bowled Sri Lanka out for 290, took a 213 run lead, and enforced the follow on. At that point, you would probably have expected one result, which was obviously an Indian victory. Instead, Sri Lanka batted for 154 overs in their second innings, finished on 429 for 9, and somehow saved the test. Zain, I'm going straight to you. How did India
Mhm.
not win this match?
First, Assalamu alaikum and welcome to all the viewers. Very interesting question. How did India not win this test match? I'd like to give enormous credit to the Sri Lankans. It's very easy to look at this from India's perspective and say they failed to take 10 wickets. But imagine the situation Sri Lanka was in. You just got them out for 290 earlier on. They were, you know, behind 213 runs behind, if I'm not mistaken. And then all of a sudden, India tells them to go and bat again. So mentally, you're under enormous pressure. Especially when Sri Lanka came into bat, they were under enormous pressure. But they responded by batting for 154 overs. That's a lot of overs, and that's not just luck. That's discipline, concentration, and character, I would say.
Yeah, and Zain, I completely agree with giving Sri Lanka credit. They really, really put everything they had into trying to level it out. But I'm going to still challenge you. India had a team following on 13 runs behind. For a
Mhm.
team with India's bowling resources, I mean, surely they have to finish that match, right?
Absolutely. I believe India will definitely be very disappointed when you have enforced the follow on with the kind of lead they had. You said you believed that you can bowl them out again. But the test
Yeah.
match doesn't always follow the script, as they say. The match goes on, the pitch changes, the ball gets old, the bowler gets tired. And once Sri Lanka started building partnerships, the pressure, gradually shifted from Sri Lanka to India. So India was still attacking, but Sri Lanka made them work for absolutely everything. So yeah, I think India will be very disappointed.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that as well, Zain, because we actually did see at one point of time that the Indian bowlers were actually struggling to get wickets. But let's settle this one. Shubman Gill, he enforces the follow on. I know that we were talking about it being a wrong decision, so let's elaborate on that.
Yeah, see, although if you look at it from Shubman Gill's perspective, probably he's done the right thing. But if you look at it from my perspective, I personally think that, and it's completely my personal opinion, I think he should have actually come in and batted. India should have actually scored a quick 200 runs or 175 to 200 runs, and put on another massive lead, or a target on the scoreboard for Sri Lanka to chase, because here, they knew that if they cross that bar of trailing, they can obviously build partnerships slowly, and they can take the score away from India, and that's exactly what they did. I mean, they built up partnerships, and India were outrightly played by Sri Lanka in the second innings. I would say that they could not take 10 wickets, although Shubman Gill and his 11, playing 11 was quite positive and sure about getting Sri Lanka out in the second inning. So, in my opinion, if you remember, we were having this discussion earlier on, even before the Test match was finished. The moment I got to know that India has forced the follow on Sri Lankan batters, I personally thought it was a bad decision. If I was at Shubman Gill's position, I would have come in, batted, made quick 175, 200 runs, because they were already trailing by 213 runs. So another 200 runs would have added the total somewhere up to 413. and that would have been a huge score. And that is also a psychological thing to put the other team under pressure, because they knowing that they've not been able to score that many runs in the first test as well, and then coming into the second test first inning as well, they were unable to even you know you know cross the halfway mark of the total. So or maybe they did. So that also puts them under a lot of pressure. Probably India would have had a better chance of just getting them out, because at the back of their mind they would be eyeing at two things at that point of time: one, chasing that target, and two, saving that test match. With this decision which Shubman Gill took, or the Indian team took, I think they only had to save the test match. So
Yeah.
that's my.
Yeah, yeah. No, I completely agree with you. I mean, it was India's match for the taking. But look, Zain, there is another argument as well. I mean, India's bowlers, they just bowled almost 90 overs.
Mm,
And, by enforcing the follow on, your captain's basically asking you to go straight back out there,
mhm.
and continue to bowl. And eventually they had to bowl another 154 overs. You know,
Yeah.
at what point does fatigue become more important than momentum?
See, that's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly the risk. Initially, you want to attack while Sri Lanka are vulnerable. But if you don't get those early wickets, suddenly you're looking at tired bowlers, because they've already bowled 90 overs before, and then they're coming out to bowl again. And if they're not getting the wickets early on, your bowlers will, or they might get frustrated, or, um, they will feel tired and things like that. So and on the other hand, if you force the follow on, then the attack has to be slightly different. You, as a captain, you have to be more creative. You have to rotate the attack, you have to rotate the bowlers, change their angles, change fields quite frequently, and try something unexpected, something out of the box, which I got to see while India was bowling. And I think Sri Lanka were 8 or 9 down. Probably the 12th man came in with the message from the coach, Gautam Gambhir, saying that you got to set a field in such a way. So this is the risk I was talking about. I mean, your bowlers
Mm,
have already bowled out 90 overs in the first innings, and then you're asking them to bowl again. So it's not going to be easy. And now, obviously, the weather is not very pleasant in Sri Lanka as well. It's hot, and it will be humid as well. So it is going to be difficult. So another reason why I say that they shouldn't have forced the follow on is this, because you end up having tired bowlers, fielders, and with a lot of heat around you.
exactly, exactly. Now, Zain, let's talk about Sonal Dinusha. 103 in the first innings. Then Sri Lanka are following on, and he comes back and makes another unbeaten 133. He gets player of the match. How good was that performance?
Oh, I mean, hats off to him. It was just outstanding. He was outstanding. And what impressed me the most was not the number of runs he's made. Actually, it wasn't about his scores or runs. It was about the way he batted in both the innings. He comes slightly in the middle order. I mean, slightly lower in the middle order, and the responsibility he took in the first inning, although there was nobody to build those kind of partnerships with him, but the amount of maturity he showed, the temperament, and understanding the situations, I mean, it was fabulous. And I don't personally think he was playing for personal milestones. He was batting. If you go to see his second innings as well, he was batting to save this test match. That's something which impressed me.
Yeah,
Not just the runs he's made. I mean, probably he made 3 centuries in this series, two Test match series. He made 3 centuries, and one he got out in probably in 80s. But the amount of maturity and understanding of the game and the situation he's shown,
yeah.
that's impressive. That's a star in making, I would say.
Exactly, and he had to bat with the tail as well. I mean, how different is that? Because suddenly you're not only managing your own innings, but you're managing the player at the other end too.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's completely different. You see, when you're batting with another batter on the other side, you're batting I mean, you're just looking after your batting, and probably you will be helping your partner as well. But when you have a tail ender on the other side facing, I mean, you're not just batting for yourself. No, you're not just batting for your team, but you're also batting for that gentleman who's, on the non-striker end or probably facing the ball. So he has to be aware of the fact how many balls have been bowled. He also has to rotate the strike. He also has to make sure that the team is scoring runs. Plus, he also has to make sure that his tail ender doesn't get to face a lot of deliveries as well, because the more they face, the higher chance of getting them out is easier. So he wasn't just batting for himself, he was batting for two people at one time. So like I said earlier, it was outstanding. It
Yeah.
was he was amazing as a batter, and that too on the fifth day when the pressure is enormous. It's incredibly difficult to bat in under certain circumstances and conditions. Well done
Yeah,
to him, I
I
would.
mean, one might just think about his mindset and how strong his resolve is. That he has to stand, he has to
See,
stand and hold the fort
I
together.
spoke about this earlier as well when we started this conversation. Sri Lankan team showed a lot of discipline and character.
Yeah,
That's what this is. He was a very good example of that. I mean, the young players, the young cricketers around the world, not just in Sri Lanka, round the cricketing world, must watch this innings. It was fabulous. He was flawless. What an innings. I mean, I can go on and on, the whole night by explaining and chanting about him. The way he's batted, he looked like a proper test cricketer. That's what we want to
yeah,
see from every test playing nation.
yeah. I mean,
Amazing. I mean,
yeah, like so Zain, like you said before, 300s in a two-test series for the Nusha. I mean, are we looking at the emergence of a serious test batter for Sri Lanka after this performance?
well, absolutely, absolutely. How what we say normally in cricketing terms is that one innings can sometimes be circumstances, but when you're repeatedly scoring runs in difficult situations, people start talking about it. But the challenge is, would he be able to keep this consistency going? you know but what
Mm,
Sri Lanka will have to do is they'll have to encourage him more and more, because like I said, he's a star in making. He's shown the temperament, he's shown the understanding of the game, he's shown the understanding of the situation. So and he's got shots, and he can bat with the tail enders as well. So yeah, they need to look after him, and he needs to have that consistency. Because see, you also got to remember one thing: they were playing on their home grounds. Obviously they will understand the situation and conditions really well, but playing against India in these conditions as well wasn't easy.
yeah.
So if he keeps this consistency going on away tours as well, I mean, he's a star in making, I must say.
Yeah. So, Zain, let's rewind a little bit because India's batting shouldn't get forgotten in all of this. I mean, 503 for nine declared. You've got Devdutt Padikkal who makes 117. You have Dhruv Jurel 115 not out. Shubman Gill gets 50. Bless you. Rishabh Pant is on 63. That's a pretty complete batting performance for India, won't you say?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, you can't just take away how India played. I mean, if you go to see the way India batted in the first innings, and especially this gentleman Padikkal, I mean, Devdutt Padikkal, he's another star in making. He came in circumstances, under circumstances that one of the players got injured, and he got an opportunity to come in, and he scores back-to-back centuries. I mean, amazing. I mean, um, you give him an opportunity, and he's grabbed it with both his hands. So you
Yeah.
can't take away that. And the way India other batters also batted, Dhruv Jurel, I think he came at number seven, if I'm not mistaken, and scoring 100 again at that place is amazing. So you can't take away how India played, especially in the first innings, because they did not get a chance to bat in the second innings as well. So they looked completely in control. India was completely in control up until, I believe, that when they forced the follow on Sri Lanka.
Mm. Mm. Let's talk about Devdutt Padikkal, Zayin. He's player of the series.
Yeah,
Uh, India already have an incredible amount of batting competition.
yeah.
Has he now made himself impossible to ignore after this?
Okay, let me put it in differently. He's certainly made his selection more interesting. India's problem, I mean, if you go to see, is not finding talent. You know, it's a good problem to have, I must say. It's difficult for them to find a place for that talent.
Mm.
And what Padikal has actually done, which I was just talking about, he grabbed the opportunity with both hands. I mean, he got an opportunity, one of the players got injured, and he got into the side playing 11, and he grabbed it with both hands. And it's a good problem to have. So
Yeah.
he's certainly made the selection more interesting. Now the selectors or the coach or the management or the captain would be thinking twice before dropping him from the side as well. So it's going to be a lot of pressure on the management, the coach, and the captain with his performance.
So, so if you're selecting India's next Test 11, is
Yeah.
Padikkal in it?
Of course he's in it, because you see, you can't take away the performances from the gentleman. He's performed. He's performed away from home. And if somebody performs, you got to reward them. And the best way of rewarding them is to give them more matches to play. And that's the beauty. And that is also the difficulty, like I said. Now India's got a lot of depth in their batting. So it's going to be very, very difficult for Team India and their selectors to decide who's going to be part of their playing 11. But at this given time, if you ask me if he's going to be part of my playing 11 in the next Test match, it's a big yes.
Yeah, yeah. Now let's talk about something India probably won't be too
And I'm sorry,
happy
and I'm
about.
sorry, Amber. I would like to mention here that before the Test match series started, if you remember, we had this discussion, and I was a big advocate of Sarfaraz, you know, and I
Yes,
wanted
yes.
him to play. But the way this gentleman has performed, I think he deserves to play more Test matches now. Yeah.
Great,
So I'm
great.
sorry about
So,
that.
no, 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 no worries about. I mean, we are all just having a chat. So let's chat about something that India probably is not too happy about at this point of time. They
Hmm.
needed 10 wickets in Sri Lanka's second innings. They got nine. 1 wicket away. Is that simply cricket, or should we actually question India's bowling and tactics on that final day?
That's an interesting question. In
Yeah,
my opinion, it's a bit of both. Sometimes you have to accept that the opposition has played extremely well. Like I said before, you can't take away the credit the way Sri Lankans batted. But at the same time, if I'm in the Indian dressing room, I would definitely want to review the decisions which the Indian team took. How could they have changed the field earlier, which I mentioned earlier as well? They could have used different angles, they could have attacked the tail differently. This is something which India team will definitely have to review, and especially when you need 1 wicket and you've got a world class bowling
yeah.
attack. You expect to get that done. I mean, it's something which they've been doing throughout the series, but they failed in the last innings. And I certainly believe this is going to hurt India very badly. They could have
Yeah,
actually
I
won.
mean,
Like I said, if they would have
yeah.
actually come in and batted, there was a probability of India winning this Test match and winning the series by 2-0.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you, Zain. When you actually told me that this is the result, and even when we were watching, the few overs in the afternoon, you did say something on those lines. I mean, and I believe psychologically as well, that final wicket, becomes harder the longer it doesn't come, doesn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. But before I want to say something else, Amber, the thing is, the moment I'm just going to go back to what I said, although I've mentioned that again before as well. But the moment I got to know that they forced the follow on, if you remember, I said now India is not going to win this Test match, because I knew that Sri Lanka is going to play a different game altogether. They will be playing to draw this Test match, and that's exactly what happened. they came with the mindset they're going to spend more and more time on the pitch, rather than just giving away their wickets easily. And they actually made Indian bowlers work really hard to get wickets. This time in the second innings, Sri Lankans just didn't give away their wickets. They were making sure the bowlers actually had to work really, really hard to get their wickets. So now coming back to your question, that psychologically that final wicket becomes harder. Absolutely, it does. Every dot ball starts feeling very important. Every edge that doesn't carry to the slips, or a silly mid off or silly mid on, it frustrates the bowling side. Uh, every defensive shot, I would say, give the batting side a more belief, and that's why saving a test match sometimes, feels almost like winning one. So for me, Sri Lanka, you know, hasn't drawn this test match. They would be very happy by, in their opinion, they probably have won it.
They won it. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And this is something which might be frustrating India at the moment. Although they won the series, but at the same time, Sri Lanka has won the hearts of their fans. Sri Lanka has,
absolutely.
they've shown the temperament, the discipline, and the character, that this is something they can also do. But we also got to remember one more thing, that team like Sri Lanka, Pakistan, West Indies, they're very unpredictable. They can play really good cricket on one day, and then and the next day they can be the most disgusting team. So they need to do this with a lot more consistency. If they need to win test matches, they need to play good cricket how they played in the second innings.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. And Zain, just veering off a little bit and talking about India's bowling attack, and whether it's fatigue or whether it's just the mental strain. But will you just quickly? I want your thoughts on those two really atrocious wides by Siraj. Do you think that was fatigue, or do you think he just got distracted from his goal? You remember, right? They were
I
miles
absolutely
away from they
remember,
were
and
miles
you're
away
putting
from
me
the
under the spot
batsman.
right now. You're putting me under the spot. See, I personally feel he was doing it deliberately, because they didn't wanted Sonal to be striking the ball in the next over as well, because I think it was the
Mm.
last ball of Siraj's over, and he didn't want it. I mean, it could be a good tactic if you see it from an Indian fan perspective, but I would say cricket is a gentleman's game, and let's play it like a gentleman as well. So let's not do things which. I mean, probably the Indian fan would not agree with me, because they will have an argument with me. Probably you will have an argument with me on this as well. But I personally believe that in cricket is a gentleman's game. It's called the games of lords, and it should be played in that spirit as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, and any game for that matter, should be played fair. But Zain, let's talk about one of India's positives from this tour. It's been seeing some of the younger players get opportunities, like you did mention. What
Yeah.
do you make of Manav Suthar?
Very encouraging for a young spinner. Touring Sri Lanka is a fantastic education. I mean, he's probably would have learned a lot from that. Uh, you would have expected him to take wickets, which he did. The conditions were very helpful for spinners, but that also creates a pressure, because now he's performed. So when he goes and plays in other different away from home, otherwise, is he going to be performing the same way, where he's not going to be supported by the wickets the same way it's been supporting him in Sri Lanka? If you remember,
Hmm.
when when Bangladesh won their first Test match against Australia, I mentioned about Mehdi Hassan Miraj. I used two terms. One is home spinner, and one international spinner. So I still want to see. I mean, home spinner for me is somebody who's getting the pitches where he's been supported by those wickets. But is he also going to perform on the wickets where the wickets are not going to be very supportive towards him? So if he
Hmm.
does that, he's got a great perspective ahead of him, prospect, sorry, ahead of him. because then he becomes the international spinner. Although he's done that here in Sri Lanka away from home, but then again, the wickets or the pitches were very supportive to the spinners. So this is, although the positives is that the younger players from the Indian side have performed better than the players who've been playing for a longer period of time. It's a good sign for Team India. It's a good sign for Test match cricket that the younger players in India at least are taking the red ball cricket very seriously.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, let's talk about Shubman Gill now. You know, he leaves Sri Lanka with a 1-0
I'm not
series
surprised
victory.
you wanted to come to Shubman Gill, and I'm sure you will be questioning me about his captaincy because I did
Yeah,
mention earlier before the series started it's going to be a difficult tour for him.
exactly. I mean, how do you assess his captaincy after this?
Uh, Overall, I would say it was positive. Winning away Test match series always matters, and he would have learned a lot from this situation and the series. Uh, but at the same time, if he looks back at the final innings of the second Test match, um, I think he would think about it. He could have attacked earlier. He could have actually made better decisions in the second innings, where when Sri Lanka came into bat in second Test match. But at the same time, I mean, these kind of experience, they will obviously, if you learn from that, they make you a better captain. So it all depends how he learns from it. But
Yeah,
overall, if
so
you
yeah,
see, it was positive. It was
yeah,
positive captain.
yeah.
But
So
obviously, things work in your favor when you win as a captain, even though if you've not captained the side really well, but if your team wins the game for you, if they win the series for you, so everything looks good on the cards.
yeah, yeah. So basically, you are not blaming him for the draw.
I didn't say that I'm not blaming him for the draw. End of the day, he's the captain. It's his decision to put the other team, force the follow on, or so it's a bit of both. I would blame him as well and not blame him as well, because end of the day, I probably the team management would have also given him the same kind of an idea. That's why he took that decision. But as we always say, it's the captain who's responsible for everything because he's leading the side inside. So
Yeah.
his responsibility. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I have to agree with you on that. So Zain, here's a bigger question for you. I mean, India
Mhm.
have won an away test series. You know, normally that's something you celebrate like
Mhm.
Simba, but you know, considering the position that they were in during this match, I mean, does one nil feel slightly disappointing?
They say it might be a mixed feeling. See, Simba loves you. See,
Just
so yeah. So in my opinion, he would be Team India would be having, or the management would be having a mixed kind of feelings. It could have been a 2-0 series very easily for India. So although they won the series 1-0, they would be happy about that, but at the same time, they would not be very excited about not winning the second Test match. So let me put it in the simple words: they would be disappointed by not winning the second Test match. It would have,
yeah,
boost their confidence quite a lot as well, because India had quite young players Surya Kumar Yadav. So without a doubt, Indian team was better than Sri Lanka any given day. But going to Sri Lanka, winning the series in Sri Lanka, and if they would have won it by 2-0, it would have been a great achievement, especially for Shubman Gill as well.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you couldn't be further from the truth on that. So, you know, because Simba is missing me, I think I should put you on the spot with my favorite rapid fire.
Okay.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
if you're ready to go, India
Sure.
enforcing the follow on, right or wrong?
Wrong. That's completely my
Mm,
opinion.
Okay. So Sri Lanka saving the test. Is it great batting or disappointing Indian bowling?
Great batting and some really bad decisions by the fielding team.
Okay. Sonal Dinusha, one brilliant series or future Sri Lankan star?
I said that before as well. Star in making if he keeps that consistency going.
Parikal, does he make it to the India's next Test 11?
I've already said yes about it, so it's a big yes.
No, I'm just reaffirming that. So, India's biggest positive from the series
The young players performing,
and their biggest concern.
not finishing this test match the way they should have.
I It's an I moment. So, Gill's captaincy out of 10.
6.5 after the second test match.
Yikes. Okay. Only 6.5.
Yeah, because he could have actually taken the right kind of decisions. Even though if he had forced them on the follow on, he could have actually attacked differently. Should have thought out of the box, which he didn't. So, okay, I'll give him 7 if you insist that way. But
All right.
7, yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, and finally, Zain. So, who actually walks away happier from this second test, India or Sri Lanka?
Oh, Sri Lanka. Although
Of
India
course,
won the
yeah.
series, but I think Sri Lanka, that is important that India did win the series. But if you talk about purely about the second test match, I think Sri Lanka walks out happily because at least they didn't got a white they didn't get a whitewash, you know.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean psychologically that feels enormous, and perhaps that's the beauty of test cricket. India dominated much of this match. They scored 503. They took 213 run first inning lead. They enforced a follow on. They got
Which was
nine.
a wrong decision in my opinion.
Yes, yes, but they got 9 second innings
It
wickets.
doesn't
I
matter.
mean, but they
They
couldn't
didn't get the
get,
10th one.
but they couldn't get
They
number
didn't get
10.
the most important one, number 10.
They couldn't get number 10. That's why I'm saying they couldn't get number 10. I mean, Sri Lanka survive. India take the series 1-0. Then you've got Sonal Dinusha who walks away after a remarkable test series. And I mean, kudos to him.
Yeah.
Zayyen, thank you so much. To our audience, we want to
Yeah,
hear
but
from you.
Amber, before we sign off, I'd like to. I think I missed out on saying this thing. A big congratulations to Team India on winning the series, and to Shubman Gill and the entire team management as well. It means a lot. Winning a Test match series away from home means a lot to any team. At the same time, congratulations to Team Sri Lanka for saving the second Test match, and the way they played was enormous. They showed the fight back. They showed that discipline, character. To hats off to them as well. So congratulations to both the teams. We got to see some good cricket in the second Test match at least, because the first Test was completely dominated by India. Second one also was being dominated, like you said, by India early on, but then they gave it away, and Sri Lanka took that opportunity really well, and they fought back extremely
Yeah,
extremely well. So
yeah.
congratulations to both the teams.
Absolutely. And Zain, before we actually close the show, I think we've got some comments. If you want to address, if you just wanna acknowledge, thank you for taking the time to comment.
Mhm.
And it seems you have a fan.
Oh, do I?
Congratulations.
Okay. Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. Okay, this is Sayyid Nizamuddin. He says Sonal Dinusha is the next Jasuria for Sri Lanka. See, Sonal has to be consistent, and he bats consistently. Obviously, he's like I said, he's a star in making, but consistency is extremely, extremely important. Yeah. So the same gentleman is asking. Yeah, he's commenting. He says, Sayyid Nizamuddin again, he says, Sona is a hurdle between India and victory. Absolutely. We absolutely agree with you.
Yeah.
Then the same gentleman says Bangladesh won hearts and minds of cricket fans from around the world. Yeah, but they could have actually done far better in the second test match. I was extremely disappointed about that. We could possibly
Yeah.
take that in a talk about it
We
in a
can talk
separate
about
show.
that on a separate, yeah.
Although
Yeah.
it's been some days. Unfortunately, we did not get the opportunity. We were busy with some errands, and we did not get a chance to do a show. But if you guys are interested, we're more than happy to do that. And last but not the least, the gentleman who's my fan. Thank you so much, Zuhaib Anwar. Thank you for being our fan. All we would like to say at the end of the show is that please, gentlemen, all the follow viewers, please do like and subscribe our page, do follow us, share these links with all your friends and family, those who love cricket. We only talk about cricket. If there's anything you would like to talk about, we're more than happy to take your comments. We are more than happy to, you know, take you on the show as well, and discuss things with you, how the fans think about their team, and how would they want to see them progress, and how would they want to see them play, and what kind of selection did they want to see in each side. So it's not just for India or Sri Lanka, for any cricketing side. If you're a fan of any cricketing nation, we are more than happy to invite you, and we'd like to take your opinion as well. But all we request is that we would want to have a clean and a nice kind of conversation, rather being nasty. That's something want uh, we don't want to have those kind of conversations on our show. So if you're open to have good conversations, share your point of view about your team, your players, we're more than happy to invite you on our show, and you can be our guest as well. So yeah, over to you,
Yeah.
Amber.
Yeah, no, no, absolutely. Zayin, I have to agree with you on that. I mean, we always like to hear what our audience has to say about us. If there are any particular matches, that are currently going on that you want us to dissect and analyze for you, and please feel free to let us know, and we would love to take that up. But like Zain said, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We want our voices to reach a much larger cricket loving audience. So be our vehicle. We'll also be discussing the second test of Pakistan versus England tomorrow. I mean, although it's just the first day today, but we'd want to talk about the initial game plan tomorrow. So stay tuned for that, and we'll see you soon again on 22 Yards with Zayin.
Yeah, but
Till then,
before we go, I'd like to ask a question to all our viewers, and I would want you guys to comment, leave your comments in the comments section. So the question for you is: did India let this test slip away, or was Sri Lanka fight back simply too good? We'd like to hear it from you, what you think. I have given my point of view. We'd love to hear your point of view as well. So don't forget to comment and leave your opinions with us.
yeah. So till next time, guys, goodbye and good night.
Goodbye and good night. Thank you.